how communication works. This is a little bit of an adaptation of your textbook. So we'll see a diagram here in a second, but first, here's the definition we're going to use in class. This is not the definition given in the textbook. The definition given in the textbook is a bit wordy, honestly a bit confusing. They say something like, communication is the process of thinking and feeling, receiving and conveying messages to ourselves and others in a manner that brings ideas and people together. Anybody going to remember that? Probably not. So we're going to go with this one. Communication is exchanging information and sharing meaning. So when does effective communication happen? It happens when the sender shares information, the recipient shares their information, which is just feedback based on your body language, your eye contact, your face, your posture, things like that. Information is a two-way street. Right now, I am not the only person in this room conveying information. You are conveying information to me as well. So there's a dynamic going on here. We together are sharing information with each other. But then ultimately, we have to come to a shared meaning. Communication is complete when we walk out of here on the same page. Perfectly? No. So there are 7 of you in this class giving 5 speeches each. So if you do the math, there are 35 different speeches. But realistically, there's 35 speeches times 6. So what's that? 210, is that right? Something like that. So really there are 210 speeches in this class. Because Giselle's going to get up and she's going to give her personal testimony. And she, in her mind, knows how she wants it to come across. And it'll come across one way to Joe, but Michael's not going to hear it exactly the same as Joe hears it. Maybe Michael's got some things on his mind that morning, and he checks out for 8 seconds. Because he missed those 8 seconds, does he hear the same exact speech that Joe hears? No, he does not. And let's say Ian's got a family thing that comes up that same day, and he's got other things on his mind, and so he's in and out, and he misses 5 seconds at the beginning, 12 seconds later on, another 9 seconds later on. Does he hear the same speech that Michael or Joe heard? No, he does not. So even though Giselle is giving one speech, it is going to be heard 6 different ways, 7 if you count myself. So nobody will hear her speech the exact same way. So, is there going to be perfectly shared meaning? There never will be. But can there be a basic consensus? Well, I hope so. Otherwise, communication is pointless, is meaningless. That's why we preach. We assume there can be some level of shared meaning. Perfectly shared? No. But a basic level? Hopefully. Yeah. So what's that look like? Here's a variation of the model used in the textbook. You might just want to star that model in the textbook because they do a really good job of kind of laying that out. So it starts with whoever the sender is. So in this setting, it's me. I'm right here. I'm the sender, the one beginning the communication loop. And I then have a message that I'm trying to get to the recipients, the receivers, you guys. In the process, there are channels of communication that I have chosen to use. So there are several different channels that communication can take. Spoken word, the written word, musically, a video, and on the list could go. And so the communicator says, here's the channel I'm going to choose. And for classroom purposes, we generally choose spoken word. But that's not the only one. So we take that message, we send it through our channel, and it arrives at the recipient. Along the way, though, there are these little squiggly marks called noise. Some communication theorists call it interference. Things that get in the way from communication happening effectively. So in the example that I gave earlier, Giselle's given her speech, and I mentioned you 3 guys. So what did I say was kept you from listening those 5 seconds?
I had something on my mind.
Okay, I just said something. Okay. Let's say specifically you rolled your ankle in practice. And so now you're thinking, okay, I gotta ice it, I gotta take some sort of anti-inflammatory, I gotta elevate it, and you're distracted by your ankle. That is called noise. Noise is anything that gets in the way from hearing the message. And so I said, Ian, it was something family came up, and so he's thinking about the family situation. That is noise. And there are two types of noises that interfere with good communication happening. There's internal noise. Both of the examples that I just used are examples of internal noise. Something going on inside the listener that keeps the listener from hearing what the speaker is saying. What are some other examples of internal noise? What's some internal noise that takes place at 8 a.m.? Joe? Being tired. I just want to go back to bed. Yeah, that's internal noise that makes it more difficult to hear what the speaker is saying. So that's something that I have to overcome every single day that we come to class, because that noise will be there for you pretty much every day in here. Ian?
If you get hungry.
Hunger. So let's say you roll out of bed, 7:45, you sleep through your alarm, you throw on some clothes, brush your teeth real fast, and run to class. You skip breakfast. About 8:15, your stomach starts to rumble. And you're thinking, Poznich, I don't care what you have to say, I just want to go get some food. That's internal noise. So that's one type of noise. Internal noise that runs interference between the speaker and the receiving of the message. There's also external noise, which is just the opposite. Distractions outside of ourselves. And the list could go on and on here, but let's just name a few. We've already identified, Adam identified that one for us at the beginning of class. What is that horrendous buzzing noise? And now everybody is distracted by the horrendous buzzing that is taking place above our heads in some capacity. That is external noise. A car drove by the street. Ooh, look at the pretty car. Or a bird maybe a bird flies into the window and then bangs off, and everybody's looking out there for the next 5 minutes, and I'm, as the teacher, thinking, well, I might as well just sit down for 5 minutes because they're not going to hear a word I say. Yeah, that's external noise. That happens a lot. That's external noise. Or somebody who's tapping, doing something like that, external noise.